Again, another fantastic segue. Does everything happen for a reason? Uh, Look, man, yesterday, you, I don't know. I wanted to hear what you had to say first. And then you said, nope, you're going first. So today, Q, I'm asking you to go first. Do you think everything happens for a reason?
Okay, so short answer, absolutely not.
Okay.
But just to touch on yesterday before we move on,
Okay.
my brother had just finished telling MAGA he loves them and then asked me, was love real? I'm like, nah, bro, that's not the segue. You, I'm gonna let you go and ride that wave, surfboard, bro.
I think I wrote it pretty well.
You know what I'm saying? Boogie board, wave runner, whatever you need to do. But that wave is yours. I don't got nothing for you. So just for anybody who missed the show yesterday,
Oh, that's funny.
could not get jiggy with that.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
I get
let
it.
my brother have that one. Um, do all things happen for a reason? You know, the interesting thing about this is that almost everyone that I know, to a man, to a woman, believes that statement,
Yeah.
believes everything happens for a reason. Everything, literally. And under a little bit of scrutiny, it doesn't make any sense at all to actually feel that way. What I've learned, and I think what we've collectively learned throughout human history, is that there's these phenomenon that come along to explain unexplainable things and to reassure and comfort people when difficult things happen, like death and failure. It feels lighter if your parents just passed away and everything happens for a reason and it's God's will and they're going to heaven. That's a much easier thing to process than the person who I once relied on for everything is gone and I'll never hug them again.
Mm.
I'll never kiss them again. I'll never see them again. Everything happens for a reason and they're gone to be with God is a much easier thing to process than you'll never be able to say I love you. You'll never be able to say, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. They're not coming over for holidays. You don't get to celebrate that birthday. You lost your job. You ended up homeless. You hurt someone you loved and they never speak to you again. Some young person, some baby loses their life. Donald Trump becomes the president of the United States twice. All of these unexplainable things happen. And in order for us to not lose our collective minds, once upon a time, someone convinced us that everything happens for a reason and hence will work out for the good in the end. Because that's the understood implication there
Sure. Yeah.
is that everything happens for a good reason. Most things happen completely randomly, right? We all have routines and we all have science and engineering, right? So when you turn the key in the ignition on your car or push the button, the car comes on. You put it into gear and you drive. You pay attention to where you're going. And if you pay attention for 100% of the time, all the time, it's a high likelihood you won't get in an accident. Except there's other people on the road too. And they might not be paying attention any of the time because they're texting, TikToking, changing the radio, taking a selfie, whatever the case, and they crash into your car. And you just so happen to be at the wrong light while the wrong person was TikToking. There's not some existential lesson there for you to learn from that car accident.
Mm.
But so you won't be frustrated, annoyed, and angry at this very inconvenient situation that you're in. And hopefully you're not hurt, but you now have a new bill. You're going to miss some time at work. You got a date you plan on going to later that you can't go. Instead of being balled up in that anger and frustration, someone that you care about is going to say, hey, man, don't even trip. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's going to reset you emotionally. Oh, man, you're right. There's some lesson I'm supposed to learn here. There's something that's going to happen. If I didn't get in that accident, something worse was going to happen down the street. Like we feed into these things. We all create ration and reason that agrees with it and feed ourselves this thing that I don't think is a thing. Some things are completely random. Now, I don't think that nothing happens for a reason. Like, yeah, some things do happen and are aligned, but in most cases, it's not like some predetermined, predestined thing. Ramses has a master's degree because he kept going to school and kept studying and kept going to class and kept spending money, not because when he was born, the spirits of the universe ordained that he would have a master's degree one day. Now, I'm not saying this as fact. This is Q's beliefs. This is not the gospel according to Q. This is not you have to think what I think. And this is not Q is right. Q can be completely wrong. I just don't believe that everything happens for a reason.
Well said. I think that for me, it's not too dissimilar, but I think that for me, the statement embodies a little bit of, maybe it's like theological, faith-based, because again, there's this presupposition that everything happens for a reason, and there is some divine intelligence behind it. And many folks call that God. Okay. So we'll just go with that. So I think that for people to use this, many people to use this and sincerely believe in it, they have to kind of have a space for God in their uh, mental framework, and perhaps spiritual as well. So, once upon a time, this happened when I was in high school. It's going to sound really silly, but this is where I kind of started to ponder this question. I was in maybe the 10th grade. I was in a history class in 10th grade. And I had like a soda can. The brisk iced teas had just started getting sold on my campus. And I pulled the tab off of the soda and it came off. And then I dropped it and it fell like in between the desk chair that I was sitting in my 10th grade class. And I'm like, how in the world did that happen? Why did that happen? And then I said, everything happens for a reason. I was like, wait a minute. There's a reason that happened. And I just couldn't make it make sense. Not the degree of intelligence that may have caused all of this to come into manifestation would not concern itself with something so trivial, right? That is a function of the physical properties of the universe. There is gravity. There's, your fingertips have oil on them. This is why you leave fingerprints, all these things, you know what I mean? And you could end up. So anyway, why did this amount of hair come out when I combed it today differ from the amount of hair that I combed yesterday come out, right? Is there a reason there, right? And people can scale it up to car crashes and deaths and all that sort of stuff, but I think the framing of it is the same. On the one hand, no, of course not. Everybody kind of gets more or less the same slate and the same go at it. And some people are more fortunate than others. Some people have more fortunate circumstances at their birth. And those shape outcomes, and those are the tendencies that we see. Mathematics and tendencies, I think, has more of an impact on what we see in the universe than the idea that everything happens for a reason. However, you know me, man, I'm mad rainbows and butterflies. So I'm always going to kind of be in love with the idea that there's a little bit of magic out there too. And maybe there is something to be said about being so intentional about a thing until it comes into manifestation. And in certain instances, it might seem like you fail upward, right? And so to me, that means that maybe there's some truth to it. So again, I think I'm saying what you said just in my own Ramses kind of way. So there you go.